I told my parents that I was pregnant at 15 years old. This is one of my most viral videos, so I'm gonna do it again. First, we are trying to move out. If you'd like to help, comment more than 6 words, follow, engage from the bottom up. That helps us so much in our process of trying to save up. Me and my boyfriend started dating at 14 years old. That's when we got into a relationship. 4 months later, at 15, we both turned 15, found out that we were pregnant. So the day we told my parents, I was sitting up in my room with Aiden, with my boyfriend, and I called my mom up, and she came in. She started fixing the blinds. Like, she was really happy. I had like 4 tests behind my back. I pulled them out and I was like, Mom, and she looked, and she didn't really see them at first, but I was like, hey Mom, like, look. And she saw them and she got so mad. She left the room and we were like, Mom, come here. She came back and was like, you guys are lying. This is not a funny joke. Like, stop joking. This is not funny. And we were like, Mom, we're not joking. She was like, okay, then if you're not joking, get in the car. We're going to CVS. You're going to take a pregnancy test. I had like all different kinds of pregnancy tests already there, but I was like, okay, whatever. It's going to make her feel better. We'll go to CVS. So me and my boyfriend followed her out of the door to CVS. And we drove the entire way, I think, in silence. It was so awkward. Anyways, we got to CVS. We literally walked in. My mom grabbed Solo cups and a pregnancy test box. We went into the CVS bathroom, and she made me take a test in the CVS bathroom. We were in there for like 45 minutes. Aiden was standing outside the bathroom on his phone, and like people were waiting to go into the bathroom. My mom was just yelling at me. The test showed up very positive. Like, very positive. Went across, very positive. Walked out, got in the car, and my mom pretty much like sat there and yelled at me more. We rode some of the ride in silence, I think, but most of it was just yelling. Got back to my parents' house, and I go into this room, and we have to tell my dad. I've never had a good relationship with my dad. He was an alcoholic when I was growing up. He is now sober, but while I was growing up, we did not have a good relationship. Even when he got sober, it was very hard for me to trust him. But this day, we walk into the room, and it was my parents' room, and I pull out the test from behind my back, and I just start crying. And my dad looks at me, and he was like, it's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be fine. We'll figure it out. And my mom's a stay-at-home mom. My dad works. So it's like, we were most worried about him because he was the one that makes the money, and we knew that we were gonna need help. So yeah, he pretty much said that everything was gonna work out, and he gave me a hug, and he shook my boyfriend's hand. My mom was sitting there like, why are you telling her this? This is not a good thing. Like, my dad didn't act like it was a good thing, but you know what I mean. We had to go tell my boyfriend's parents now. We got in the car, and my boyfriend texted them and was like, are you home? And they were like, yeah. What do you need? And he was like, okay, we're coming over to talk. And they were like, talk about what? And he was like, you'll see when we get there. And they like, you know, I would freak out too. Anyways, we got here. We walk inside, and my mom was like, show them. And we got the test that we took at CVS, and we put it on the table. And at that point, everyone was crying. No one was really crying on the way there, except probably my mom. But as soon as we put the test on the table, everyone started crying. Like, everyone started crying. It was a mess. We sat there pretty much in silence, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Reliving this day is so weird to me. I don't really remember much of it after this point. Okay, my parents and his parents are sitting at the table. They tell us to go on a walk. Anyways, we get back from the walk, and we give hugs. Everyone gives hugs, and then we decide, my parents and his parents decide that we're not going to be together for the rest of the day. We're going to take our time off from each other. From then on, we had a lot of rules, which I can go into another video explaining, but that was that day. Me and my mom had a pretty rocky relationship for a little bit. Me and my mom were always really close. I did not understand that it was also hurting her and not just affecting me, but it ended up being okay. Everyone's perfectly fine now. Everyone loves him. Me and my boyfriend are staying with his parents, so if you'd like to help, engage with this video from the bottom up and comment more than 6 words. But everyone's totally fine now. Everything worked out, and if you are a teen parent, everything will work out. If you are pregnant, everything will work out. I'm not promoting or encouraging teen pregnancy. I would never, ever do that. Hope you guys enjoyed my story. I do share a lot of my story on my account. If you'd like to see more, that's where it is. And if you guys have anything else you'd like to see, just comment and I will post it. I love you guys so much, and I hope you have the best day.
Hi, welcome to part 1 of My Toxic Mother-in-Law Hates Me Because I Married Her Son and She Couldn't. All seriousness, I'm making a 5-part series to why my husband and I went no contact with his family, specifically his mother, and how we got to that point. We've been no contact with them for over 2 years at this point, and it has been amazing. And for all you toxic people out there, this isn't something that we decided on a whim. We went through a lot of trauma and issues with this woman before we got to this point, so I don't want to hear the whole you chose hate over love. Just don't even waste your energy. This first part is going to be more so like the beginning when I first got with my husband and a lot of the red flags that I noticed. And in part 2, I'm going to be going very deep and give a lot of examples and parts of my story of her manipulation and all of her narcissistic traits and just how poorly she treated me and my husband. During this part, I will talk about like the thing that sent me over the edge that I literally could not deal with anymore because it was so evil, but we'll get there in a minute. All right, so here is the backstory. My husband and I have been married for about 5.5 years. We have been no contact with his family and her for 2.5 years. If you do the math there, I was with my husband and we were dating for 3 years before we got to this point. We got married in September of 2023. We decided to go no contact with them a month after we got married in October of 2023. In the first kind of year of our relationship, I didn't really have many interactions with his family, especially his mom, but there were a few red flags that I want to talk about because immediately when I met her and found out more things about her, I got that gut feeling like this woman is not safe. One, this might not be true with everybody, but his mother never left the house. She didn't work, she didn't do anything, she never left the house, she didn't go anywhere, she didn't have any friends. It was just really weird to me, and I'm an introvert, so I get it. Home is my safe place. But when I say she never left the house, she never left the house. Had no friends, didn't really hang out with any family or see family or speak highly of her own family. She talked trash about everybody constantly. Second, if you know a narcissist, you know this. She had those black narcissist soulless eyes. You look at her and there is nothing in her eyes. It is literally like you're looking through a black hole. She had no soul, she had no heart, she had no empathy towards other. She only cared about herself and nobody else. A lot of my trauma was from like year 2 and 3 of being with my husband, especially year 3. But some things I noticed in the very beginning is that she would tell my husband lies about me or things that I told her, and then she would also tell me lies that my husband supposedly told her. And this was a theme throughout our whole relationship. And I know with toxic mother-in-laws, a lot of them are very outspoken and they talk trash and do whatever in front of their son to their girlfriend or their wife. But his mom was unique in the way of she liked to do everything behind the scenes. What that meant was cornering me and getting me alone and telling me awful weird things, texting me very awful things as if I wouldn't show that to my husband. And I get my husband alone when I wasn't around and telling him weird things and trying to manipulate him into not being with me. One of the biggest red flags of that first year that I was with him was she told me not once, not twice, not 3 times that she could never get close to me, never have a relationship with me because she was so heartbroken over the girlfriend my husband had in high school that she just couldn't get over it and she couldn't get to know me because of that. Mind you, he was 17/18 years old when he broke up with this girl because he went to boot camp and did not miss her. And we are now 21, 22 years old and she's still so heartbroken over the high school relationship. So if that doesn't scream toxic, manipulative, narcissist behavior, I don't know what does. But if you don't see it yet, trust me, you will see it, if not by the end of this part, but by part 2 and then definitely by part 5. Let me tell you the catalyst moment, the biggest moment, the most evil, toxic moment I had with her that finally made me tell my husband, I am done, you can do what you want, but I will not see or speak to her ever again. One time in March of 2023, we were at my husband's parents' house. My husband still lived there at the time. My husband was in the kitchen making him and I dinner. I was just in the kitchen hanging out. His mother comes into the kitchen, asks me if she can talk to me, and wants me to follow her downstairs. It was like a split level house. I already had so much trauma with this woman at this point. There had been so many awful, evil things that she had done to me that I immediately was so anxious. But I had tried with her over and over again, and I knew my husband and I were about to get engaged, so I was really trying to just be neutral and to not have an issue with this lady. So my heart is racing. I'm literally scared for my life. That might sound dramatic, but if you've gone through this, you know that is not dramatic. I follow her down there, and we began talking about a situation when my husband graduated the police academy. And this is another situation where she was toxic, but I won't get too into it. But basically, at his police academy a couple months prior to that, me and my mom had went to support him, and then some of his immediate family went to support him. I knew they literally do not care about him. They don't support him. She has been manipulating and treating him horrible his whole life since his childhood and lying to him. So when he's done graduating, my mom and I go up, we're all excited for him, like we're taking pictures with him. Then, after a long time, they come up. And his mom is taking pictures of him with like the couple siblings that came, and they're all getting in a family photo, and they're doing this and they're doing that. Not once does she ask me to be in a photo, take a photo of us, acknowledge my presence literally at all. She had never met my mother. But I did not want my family to meet her and talk to her, and they didn't want to either. They were completely fine with that because I had been telling my mom about everything, which will be important to note when I talk in my next part about a lot of the manipulation, especially at our wedding. Anyway, so she did not acknowledge my presence, didn't speak to me, didn't include me in any of the photos or act like I was a part of the family, even though we had been dating for almost 3 years. She didn't know this, but about to get engaged. Anyway, so we're downstairs talking. She's trying to manipulate me to think that I'm the issue because parents should never ever acknowledge the children, that I should have came running up to her with my arms open and acknowledged her at the graduation. Mind you, when they came up, I wasn't even with my husband. I was talking to some of his friends, and then when we came over to join them for the pictures, she literally would not look my way. So we're talking about this, and she's getting really heated and upset over it. So she's mad that she can't manipulate me. She tells me, well, Donovan told me that he doesn't even want to be with you, so that's why I didn't want you in any of the photos, because I knew you wouldn't be around for long. Mind you, I already know that he bought me an engagement ring and that at any moment in the next couple months, he's going to propose to me. And I didn't want to tell her this because he didn't want his family to know, because he was already kind of getting over them. But I felt like I needed to defend myself a little bit, because how are you going to tell me that he doesn't want me when I know he just bought a ring? So I defend myself, and I'm like, really? Because he literally just bought an engagement ring and we're about to be engaged. And in that moment, she went from her normal self to straight evil. Her eyes got black, her face got red. I literally feel like I saw the devil come out of her. It was like the weirdest experience I've ever seen in my life. And then she goes to tell me, I'll spare some of the details because once again, this is my personal life, but she goes to tell me that my husband's actually cheating on me and she can't tell me this girl's name, she can't tell me nothing, but he's cheating on me, and she knows it, and I can't be with him because he's cheating on me. And so I'm getting really anxious because, like, I know this woman lies, manipulates, whatever, but I can't tell she's actually telling the truth. And I'm like, if I'm about to marry this guy, like, if she's even telling a little bit of the truth, like, I need to know. So I'm getting anxious, I'm getting worked up. I'm not crying because I will not give her that benefit. But I'm asking her, I'm like, well, what's her name? Like, I can't check if I don't know her name, like, blah, 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 blah. Finally, she gives me a name. And we end the conversation with her saying, like, I'm so sorry I had to be the one to tell you this. Like, I know you're heartbroken, but you just can't be with him if he's cheating on you. You deserve better than that. So I go upstairs. My husband's about to be done cooking dinner. I'm like, hey, can I check your phone? He's like, yeah, of course. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, legs bouncing, heart racing. I'm trying not to cry. My face, I could feel, is like heated and red. And I'm like, we'll talk about it in a minute. So I'm going through everything, every social media, even dumb stuff like Pinterest, all of his text messages. I'm searching up her name, literally nothing. I cannot find a single thing. And trust me, I'm a sleuth. So I was looking at everything. We go out to his room. I'm like, who is so-and-so? Guess who it is, guys? Yup, his girlfriend from high school that she can't get over. He was so confused. He was so mad. I was mad. Long story short, it was a very traumatic night. And if you can't tell already, she was straight up lying. This is the moment that I could not take anymore. And one more example I will give of how my body reacted to her when I was around her was 1 month after our wedding, when I told you guys we went no contact. We went no contact after this situation. They really wanted us to come over. I did not want to. I did not feel comfortable with it. But once again, I'm a good person, and I was really trying with these people because we had just got married. We go over there. And I don't know if other people experience this, but sometimes when I have high amounts of stress, I get cold sores on my lips. And to prove how not anxious I get, I haven't had a cold sore in like years before this. We're on our way to their house, and I'm so anxious and terrified to see her because of not only the situation I just told you about, but all of the very traumatic things I went through that I'll discuss more next part, that I started to feel a tingle on my lip. And I knew right away that I was getting a cold sore. And I was so upset. We go there, I'm like anxious the whole time. I don't really speak. I'm like, I don't want to be here. Blah, 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 blah. We leave that night. The next morning I wake up. And whenever I've gotten a cold sore in the past, small little circle one right here. But no, I woke up that morning, bottom lip covered. My lip was swollen. I'm not exaggerating. I would show a photo, but it was disgusting, and I don't even know if I'd be allowed to share that. From here to here, my bottom lip was covered in cold sores. That was the final moment for my husband. He was already kind of thinking about blocking them and stuff, but that was the moment for him where he really was like, yes, we need to go no contact. We cannot do this anymore, because I'd always told him how it physically affected me, but he couldn't actually, like, when he saw my lip, he felt awful, and that's when he finally was like, okay, no more. I cannot allow you to be treated this way. I cannot allow your body to respond and feel unsafe in that way. But this just shows you how deep the trauma and the pain and the toxicity is with these kind of people. And I know this part 1 is long, but these are just a couple examples of how awful it was for me. And mind you, this is only like 2 or 3 things. This is nothing compared to the 3 years that I dealt with this woman. And like I said, I'll go more into that in the next part. I know that was long, but I hope that was helpful. And this is the first time I've ever really shared this with anybody other than a few people close to me. So I hope you relate to it, that you're feeling some hope, or that you're at least feeling seen and heard, because I know how alone you can feel. But that's all. I can't wait to see you in part 2. Thank you for giving me the space to share and to encourage me and support me. It means so much. Bye.
I told my parents that I was pregnant at 15 years old. First, I do want to mention that me and my boyfriend are saving up to move our family out. So if you would like to help engaging with this video from the bottom up is all I'm asking you to do. I'm not asking for anyone's money. So just comment more than 6 words and follow me. I got pregnant with my son. His name is Stetson. I got pregnant with him when I was 15. He's 2 now, and I'm 18. So is my boyfriend. We found out that we were pregnant on November 12th, and I told my parents on November 13th. We were sitting up in my bedroom, and pretty much I called my mom up and was like, can you come here? And she was like, yeah. She was super happy. I pulled out the pregnancy test from behind my back, and she was mad. We got in the car, we went to CVS, and she made me take a test in the CVS bathroom. Literally as soon as the P went across, it was very positive. We then went back home, and my dad was at home, so we had to tell him. My boyfriend was with me the whole time, by the way, so like we were doing this together. We went in the room, I pulled out pregnancy test that I had taken at CVS and showed my dad. He was really supportive. He was like, everything's gonna be fine. Mind you, my mom is like freaking out. She's like, why would you say that to her? Because like, should not be okay. And it obviously was not, but there's nothing we could do about it now. We are definitely not believers in abortion. That was never, ever, ever an option. Anyways, my dad gave me a hug, and then he shook my boyfriend's hand, and then we had to go tell my boyfriend's parents. We walked in, and we set the test down on the counter, and everyone was crying. The parents then had a talk while me and Aiden, my boyfriend, and his sister went out on a walk. We came back to the house, and then they all were like, pretty much like, we need to go our separate ways. So we went our separate ways for the day, and I went out to dinner with my parents, like my whole family, like my siblings and everything. Now 2 years later, this is my sweet baby. Me and my mom did go through a rough patch. I want to mention that because it's hard to find out that your 15-year-old's pregnant, and I totally understand that, but we just didn't really see eye to eye on things. I did not give her enough grace for what she was going through, because like, it was like, for me, it's like, I'm pregnant, there's nothing I can do about it, but for her, it was like, my baby is pregnant. you know. But anyways, we're perfectly good now. She loves him just as much as he loves her, probably a little bit more. But yeah, 2 years later, we're 18, we're moving out. Me and his dad are gonna get married soon. Everything was so worth it, and I'm so grateful that we are where we are right now. Anyways, that's the story. I don't know what he's doing. Say bye-bye. Mwah.
So I'm going to go into more detail about mine and my sister's relationship and a few other details. So, her and I's relationship, it was really good until I was 11. I loved her a lot. We had, a good sister bond, and I loved spending time with her. But when I was 11, that is when some of the threats and the manipulation and the bargaining started. She would find, leverage something about me and use it against me in order to make me do what she wanted. Even after, when I was 11 years old, even after that, whenever she was sober, we did have a decent relationship still, and I loved spending time with her and hanging out with her. She was gone a lot. And I don't remember much details, but she did live with us like a few times. I used to be a big people pleaser, and I loved her a lot. Even after what she did to me, all I ever wanted was to protect her, and I didn't ever want her to get in trouble because she was already in so much trouble. I wanted her to be better, and I wanted everyone to think that she was better. And unfortunately, I'm not going to disclose of what she did to me, just because I don't want to talk about it, and it's just too intense and graphic. But after what she did to me, I wanted to protect her still, even though I knew the reality of what she did to me. I wanted to protect her. I didn't want to believe it, and that's what I did. And then she did another thing about a week or two later, after the first thing that she did to me when I was 14. That time, I had to tell on her. There was no way out of it. I couldn't protect her this time, so I did that. And then that's when the beef started. I had to get a no contact order against her. But I was always her main target, because she knew how much I loved her and that all I wanted to do was protect her and not get her in trouble. Especially because sometimes she would force some leverage on me so that I wouldn't tell. And I am gonna add, because of everything I went through and her passing, I ruined a lot of my relationships. With friends and family, I ruined a lot of them because I was so angry and hurt and traumatized from the entire thing.
So as many of you know, my dad is dating my sister's best friend. So our dad is dating my younger sister's best friend. I think she's like 25 or 26. Anyways, they have a 1-year-old son together. So recently I went to Charleston to visit my best friend, and my dad lives there. So I wanted to meet my baby brother, and I invited him over my best friend's house because we had a early Thanksgiving. So I told him, I said, hey, I just want to invite you and the baby so you can come see your grandbabies, and I want to meet my brother. So he said, that's cool, that's fine. I already knew he wasn't going to bring them because his girlfriend, god damn this filter, his girlfriend, she's oh, they don't like me, they're not going to meet my son. So yeah. So anyway, that was that. So he didn't bring them, but he came to see me and the babies, and we're talking, and he was like, oh, I might go visit you next weekend. I said, that's fine, just let me know. He goes, well, I'm gonna have so-and-so with me. I said, that's fine. Oh, and I was by his house the first day I got there. Anyways, so hold on. I called him and I said, hey, I'm passing by your house, can I stop really quick to see you? He's not letting any of his kids go inside the house. Kudos to him for sticking up for whatever he wants to call her, whatever. But he's not letting us come into the house. He keeps like, oh, the tension. I said, I don't have tension with her. I do have my sister's back, though. I said, whatever tension her and my sister have is because she feels a betrayal from her best friend. So I have my sister's back, and I do think and feel that the situation is wrong. Like, you shouldn't be dating your daughter's best friend. So anyways, so he's, at the house, we're talking. He goes, I'm gonna be there next weekend in Florida to come visit you. And I said, that's fine. He said, I'm gonna have so-and-so with me. I said, that's fine. She could wait in the car. She could wait in the car.
She's not welcome into my home. She's disrespectful. She could wait in the car. And he said, okay, that's fine. I said, she's also not going to meet my children. She's not going to meet any of my kids. He said, why? You couldn't even bring my baby brother to see me because she wants to use him as leverage. Oh, they don't like me and want to talk to me. They can't see my son. That's my baby brother, you know? And it is what it is. As a mother, I respect it, because if I didn't want somebody seeing my kids, I would want my significant other to respect it. So, I respect it. But you're not going to come to my home and think you're going to meet my kids. Like, I could be petty Betty too. I don't care.
So last night I ended a friendship with my best friend who I've been friends with for over a decade. And yeah, this is a story time about why and what happened. So buckle up. So this friend, again, I've been friends with over a decade, honestly, since sophomore years when we started to become really close all throughout the rest of high school. We'll call her Sandy for this video, okay? So Sandy and I became really good friends sophomore, junior, senior year, besties, connected at the hip, and then we were best friends up into our early 20s where we started living together, and then shit went really bad. For frame of reference, I am 29 now, so this has been a while, right? So we stopped being friends after we started living together because of her. The arguments got really bad. Her alcoholism got really bad. She ended up moving out, and I stayed at the apartment that we had moved into, and I didn't speak to her again for 5 years after that. So this story time is really about all the time since we became friends again. Like, we're just gonna not even talk about all the stuff that happened in the past, even though it does count towards why I'm not friends with her anymore, but we're just gonna discuss just the shit that happened in the last like 5 years. And because I know she's probably gonna lurk and see this video eventually, hey girl, yes, it's about you. I really hope that you make better decisions in the future. Maybe you won't lose good friends like myself. So yeah, if you want to keep listening, you can keep listening too. Okay, so becoming friends with her again, I decided when I've had my first baby, it'd been 5 years since I had spoken to her. I had my first baby, I was like, you know, maybe she's changed. I would really love like some love and support. And so I hit her up. I was like, oh, maybe she's a different person. Like, I'm a different person. I'm a mom now. It's been 5 years. You know, 5 years of adulthood can do a lot to somebody. So I hit her up and we hung out again, and we became friends again, and everything was fine at first. But then like little things started to like creep in. Like, she was still having a problem with alcohol, which I'm not against people who have addiction problems. But is that something I want in my life? And because if you have a best friend that has an addiction problem, it's going to become your problem too. Like, even if you don't think so, it's your best friend. It's going to be a problem, right? I just don't want those problems. So that was just number one. I was like, oh, she's still having a problem with like liquor. It's kind of a red flag, right? And then the biggest thing that stands out in my mind is the incident when I had her and my other friend, who's an ex-coworker, a good friend of mine, and my fiance, we were all at my house for a game night. So I went to either make a drink or go to the bathroom. I don't know, I wasn't within earshot of this conversation. I found out the next day from my fiance that Sandy had said something really inappropriate and sexual to him, okay? I brought it up to her, confronted her about it, and her response was very, oh my God, I'm so sorry, like, I don't remember saying that. I would never say something like that. Like, I would never, like, do that. Right, okay. Me, I'm like, okay, well, has an alcohol problem. I fully believe if she got too drunk, she doesn't remember saying that. Does that make it okay? No, I should have cut it off right then and there. But I didn't, because I've always had issues with boundaries and being overly forgiving of people. So, another incident that kind of made me feel like she wasn't really trying to be my friend like that was, it was my 28th birthday, and Sandy, myself, and my other best friend were gonna go to Door County, Wisconsin for a little girls' weekend. It's for my birthday, like, I don't get out much, I have kids, you know? So I was really excited. We took my car, I drove there, which was about 3 hours. We got an Airbnb. I will say at the time though, Sandy was trying to be sober. So she was kind of being a sourpuss the whole time because me and my other friend were drinking because it's my birthday weekend. I don't have a problem with liquor. I can drink and not turn into a terrible human being, okay? So I was drinking, my other friend was drinking, and she wasn't, and you could tell it was kind of bothering her, right? that being said, me and my friend were drinking, and Sandy refused to drive the entire trip. The entire trip. Like, I drove all the way there for 3 hours. My other best friend drove us all the way back to where we live. That's a 3-hour drive. And then while we were in Door County, me and my friend drove around, right? Which doesn't really make any sense because, one, it should be shared because who wants to drive all the time? It's my birthday trip. And then you're the sober one. So, like, automatically in my mind, I'm like, oh, you would offer BDD because why not? You have nothing else. You're not drinking. Refused because I think she didn't want us to have a good time, right? She was being a hater. And then on top of it, the Airbnb, she didn't clean up at all. Me and my other friend were cleaning it. Sandy was on the couch on her phone, not helping us, okay? Who the fuck does that? Another incident, okay? It was my baby sprinkle. So I was pregnant with my second son, and this is before the Door County trip. Like, this is not in chronological order at all. These are just like things that are popping up in my head, right? So she wasn't sober at this time. She came to my baby sprinkle, got really drunk, and embarrassed the fuck out of me, embarrassed the fuck out of herself in front of my in-laws, my other friends. But again, she was like, I'm sorry, like, I went too far, like, and I forgave her. Then the most recent incident I found out, which is technically old information, it's about 5 years old, but still put like the nail in the coffin for me. My older brother, who is married and has 2 kids, told me recently that Sandy tried to hit on him at one of my son's birthday parties, okay? My married brother, who I love, my sister-in-law, like, she literally tried to hit on my married brother at my house at my son's birthday party. And you're supposed to be my best friend. He just recently told me now because he didn't want to start anything, which I understand. But that really did it for me because I was like, you have, there's nothing that's too far, obviously, for you when it comes to boundaries and friends. And there's just certain shit you don't say and there's certain shit you don't do if you really love somebody, point blank period. And that's just kind of what, it's a shame that it took me this long to like really come to the terms with it. Because I didn't want to believe that she would be like that towards me, but actions speak louder than words, you know? And I'm very forgiving, but there comes a point where it's not an isolated incident. This is a pattern, okay? And there's other instances I could throw in there as well. There's, you know, she's very male-oriented, very male-centered. Every time we hang out, it's all about like what guys she's smashing, what guys she's talking to. Then she's still crying over her ex-boyfriend who literally like hit her and cheated on her and got somebody else pregnant. She's crying over him. And then, so, like, I just can't, you know what I mean? Like, I think I've just outgrown her. I couldn't take it anymore. Like, I'm a mom. I want friends who, like, not that I care if you're dating somebody, but it's more of, like, there's other shit to talk about besides, like, that. I don't know. Like, I just feel like I've outgrown her, and it really came to a head after my brother told me that information. And then, so last night, I decided to message her because I haven't heard from her since before Thanksgiving. She sent me this wild voice note where she was drunk in it and like off the rails. I just didn't respond to it because this is just the type of toxicity that I don't want and I don't need in my life anymore, because I'm trying to like upgrade and have a nice fulfilling life without all of that, because it's just like it's like doom and gloom, you know, and I hate to be like that towards her, but that's kind of how it is, right? And I messaged her and I literally gave her all like bullet points of all the reasons why I decided I don't want to be friends with her anymore. And she didn't respond. She hearted it and then blocked me. So that just tells me right there, you know you're guilty of all those things. Because if you felt like you weren't guilty, if you felt like you were innocent, you would have like tried to defend yourself, but she didn't at all. So that goes to show, and I'm glad there was no argument because I didn't really want to do the back and forth anyway, so it's better that it's left like that. But yeah, that's kind of the story of that. And I usually don't do story times, but I feel like I might do these more often because it's kind of like you guys are like on FaceTime with me, like I'm just yapping. But yeah, that's kind of a story about how I broke up my friendship with my best friend of like 15 years because I deserve better and I'm too good of a friend to be friends with her. And that's just all it kind of boils down to. So get your boundaries, stick with them, even if it takes you a while. Like, I'm almost 30 and now I'm just finally setting boundaries for myself. But I feel really light. I feel really relieved that this is just off my back now and I don't ever have to deal with her bullshit ever again. I'm getting married this summer. I don't have to invite her and worry about how she's gonna act. Like, I feel very at peace. So I suggest you guys do that too.
Get ready with me while I talk about my next door neighbor and first employer sleeping with underage girls part 2. I also do want to make this like clear and apparent. This story time isn't to gain a platform or anything of the sort. It's more of the way that this whole situation has been handled needs to be called out, and this entire family needs a wake-up call because this is ridiculous. So a couple months go by after said trip, and I think it's like September, October rolls around. It's like the beginning of October, and I'm at work. I have plans to go out after work and hang out with my friends, but then my mom texts me and says, I need you to get home. We need to talk. So I got scared because, like, talk about what? What can't be texted? What's going on? So, of course, I rush home. When I get home, my parents and their best friends are all standing outside and everyone's crying. So I'm just, like, completely thrown off. When I get up to where they're all standing, they say, what happened between you and Jake? Yeah. So I end up telling my mom everything that happened. I mean, everything that's ever happened, I tell her. Come to find out, Jake has been sleeping with Samantha. I don't know if we're all on the same page, but Samantha is 16 years old. Yeah. Upon finding all of this out, my mom proceeds to tell Abby, Jake's wife, that we will handle all of their food. We will babysit their daughter. Their daughter's 3. We will babysit. We will cook for them. They don't have to worry about anything. This is a traumatic thing. We were there for Abby and their daughter. Right? Okay. So Abby decides that she is going to stay with friends or stay with her sister. I'm not sure which one came first, so don't hold me on that. But one night, we're sitting in the garage, maybe 2 days later, if not only one. We're sitting in the garage with my parents and their friends. And we look over, and Jake has decided to leave at 10:30, 11 at night. I mean, like, it's late at night. Where would he be going? So we, of course, text Abby. We're like, hey, like, Jake's leaving the house. Like, it's late at night. Just want you to be aware. Like, we don't know what's going on. Doesn't respond. The next day, Abby proceeds to say, oh yeah, he came to see me. I understand to an extent if it was a week later, 2 weeks later, and they needed to talk to sort out, I don't know, their house, their cars, their anything. Jake will be going to jail. So it was more of like, why are you already meeting up with him knowing that he's been sleeping with an underage girl? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. So Jake eventually comes home, and so does Abby. Comes home with him. So they are staying in the same home. Abby tried to lie and say that Jake wasn't there, and Jake wasn't staying with them anymore, and she wouldn't put up with that, right? So at this point, Abby does not know about the stuff between me and Jake. So my mom and I decide we need to tell her, because we didn't want her to think this was like a one-time occurrence, that this is his first time doing something like this, because it's obviously a pattern. So we decide, okay, let's talk to her. Abby acts very appalled and says, oh, well, if Jayla had said something sooner, we could have figured something out. I would have believed her. Okay, let's like keep that in mind for the remainder of this story, because that's proven wrong. Abby was even going as far as to hiding his vehicle in the garage and trying to tell us he was not there. I saw him pull into the garage. Why are we dumb? Ugh. And then my mom decides to confront her, because we told Abby if she decided to stay with Jake, we would not support her. We would not be there. Mind you, before Abby decided to let Jake back into their home, my mom was consistent. Are you okay? Do you need anything? I'm always here. Like, going over the moon for her. And then for Abby to sit here and lie? Like, I understand that she's going through something crazy, but if you're going to sit here and defend a pedophile, then that's a whole nother topic. So throughout the time, my mom has been there for Abby, supportive of Abby, until she let him back into the home. I want to make that clear. My mom was supportive until she let Jake back into the home. Around their 3-year-old daughter, mind you, okay? So when this all happened, we find out from Abby's sister that Abby had been lying and saying that my mom wouldn't even text her back. My mom's been a mean girl and harassing them. The only instance my mother has been what's the word for it? The only time she has been negative toward Abby is when I myself call Abby and say, hey, I think we need to talk. She says, no, that's not a good idea, and hangs up on me. But you'll believe me, right? But you would have believed me. So I think that's where I'm like confused, because you're going to believe me. Then you let him back into the home after hearing what my mom had to say about what he did to me. And then I call you myself to tell you about what he did. And you say, that's not a good idea. It's probably not a good idea to live in the same house as a pedo, but that's just my opinion. Over Halloween weekend, Jake and Abby decided to go stay with Abby's sister to get away, because it probably wouldn't be a good idea to parade around our neighborhood when his mugshot was just posted on news, right? So they decided to leave and go stay with Abby's sister. Mind you, Abby's sister had been getting lied to. She didn't know the full extent of anything. Like, I'm pretty sure as far as she knew, Samantha was trying to come on to Jake and not the other way around. So, I mean, either way, like, he was still an adult and she was a minor, but, like, the extent of the lies that she was being told, why wouldn't she allow him to tell his side, I guess. So during this, mind you, Abby knows the full extent of everything Jake did with this girl. Everything. She is still deciding to sleep in the same bed as him. Even going as far as to go have in a car while her sister watches their baby. She is still actively having sexual interactions with a man that was just having those same interactions with a child. Okay? With a child. He had also been buying this child lingerie and recording their acts together, which these recordings, this is like true. Like, this was posted on the news. This is how they have proof of everything that happened. I would also like to add that Jake's entire family is supportive of him in this time. They are all his backbone. I mean, putting up $120,000 for his lawyer fees, for his bail, supporting his every move. Abby has even gone as far as to say that Samantha and I were chasing after Jake. That we are the ones in the wrong. That we wanted this to happen. Like, are we being serious? Abby has even gone as far as to put on a cute little outfit, put on her wedding ring, and show up to an event that she know poor Samantha would be at. To flaunt her wedding ring and to flaunt that she's the one that ended up with Jake. Jake is a sexual predator. Abby has also stated that she will go as far as to lie on the stand for Jake. To lie for him. She has also said that they will go as far as to rent an apartment for Jake to register at on the offenders list so that they can stay in their home. Their home that is down the street from an elementary school, not even a mile away. Yeah. Once again, there will be another part, so like, comment, repost, and send this to your friends. Get ready with me while I talk about my next door neighbor and first employer sleeping with underage girls. Okay, so for some background, when I was in the first grade, my family moves in next to Jake and Abby. Jake and Abby are a middle-aged couple. I mean, they were great. My dad knew Abby from something previous, or maybe he knew Jake. I'm not super sure, but he knew one of them, so it's not like we were complete strangers. Over time, our families got super close. Well, come to find out, Abby and Jake couldn't have children. So they decided to open up a business to pay for IVF and pay for anything to help them have a baby. So they opened up a snow cone stand. I was 14 at the time. They were like, okay, great, like, we're only hiring girls. Which at first, we were like, oh, okay, maybe they just don't want drama in the workplace. But as everything comes out, it's kind of like, that was Jake's plan. So I start working at 14. It's me and a couple other girls. It was fine. But by the next summer, for some reason, all of those girls didn't work there anymore. Not to point fingers, but I mean, it's weird, right? Like, why do none of them want to work there anymore? So by the next summer, mind you, snow cones are seasonal, so we were only open in the summers. By the next summer, one of my friends was like, hey, I want a job, like, you should get me to work with you. And I was like, okay, bet. Abby and Jake are super chill, they won't care. They didn't care. So we start working together. And then another girl tied around our age. So we're like, okay, bet, this is so fun. Like, all of us got along super great. We also worked with another woman, we'll call her Ashlyn, during this time. She was grown, like, I couldn't tell you her age, but she was grown, she was pregnant, she was great. So it was like the four of us that whole summer. During this summer, there's one day that, mind you, Jake's my next door neighbor, so he would take me home from work with him. There was one day, I get in his truck, and he says, you know how I know you have a boyfriend that you're not supposed to have? And I was like, yeah, like, that's weird, why are you bringing it up? So, of course, I was like, okay, like, why is this relevant? But, like, yes, like, don't tell my parents, like, I'm shitting bricks, I'm so scared, don't tell them. And he was like, well, I know it's not something you want your parents to know about, right? And I was like, yeah, like, what's the point of this? And he was like, oh, well, I have something I want to show you. Okay, what is it? He then proceeds to pull out his phone and show me a picture. This picture is up, the angle is up my shorts as I'm bending into the deep freezer to grab some ice out. I was 15, okay? Are we like, I think we're all on the same page. I was 15. He was in his late 30s. Was a part of my childhood, showing me a picture of my shorts. So, of course, I was very appalled by this, but mind you, he had brought up my boyfriend I am not supposed to have. Like, I have been grounded over this boy. I could not be talking to him. So I was more scared of my parents finding out about this boy than me wanting to tell them. So, of course, I stayed quiet, as most girls do, sadly. So, around this time, they have also adopted a little girl. Right. So a couple weeks after the picture incident, I am working. Our coworker Ashlyn is also in the trailer with us. He comes up behind me, puts in his waistband, pushes me onto the counter, more like a rub, like, you know, when someone like grazes past you, but it was more of a push because I went forward. Proceeds to put his bare on my back. I'm still 15, mind you. On the way home from said trailer that night, mind you, he's my ride, Jake is my neighbor, he ends up asking me what I would be comfortable with doing. What do you mean doing? I'm not doing anything. So I told him, I was like, I don't want you touching me. Like, I'm not comfortable with that. He proceeds to say, how would you feel about touching me? Why would I do that? You're old. I'm a child. So I proceed to tell him I'm not touching him. He's not touching me. Whatever. I would say a couple months later, I don't know how to exactly word it, but he was basically bribing me to wear shorts. Mind you, it's the middle of summer. It's Texas heat. It's dry here. Like, I'm gonna wear shorts, right? I get in his truck one day, as I did after every shift because I am next door neighbors with Jake. I get in the truck. He says, "You wore shorts today." Of course I wear shorts. It's summer, right? Hands me a $50 bill. He proceeds to say, "If you want to keep making money like this, you'll keep wearing shorts." I did not keep wearing shorts. I wore jeans in the middle of Texas heat summer. The fall after the summer that this all started happening, I decided I've had enough. So I went and I got a different job. I start this different job. Everything seems fine. Let's not forget, Jake's my neighbor. So I'm forced to be around him either way. During this time, I also got Snapchat. One of my first friend requests was from Jake. Me being dumb, I accept it because I'm like, oh, like, he knows my parents monitor my phone, like, he won't try anything. Wrong. I have never been so deceived in my whole life. When I start this other job, he is consistently texting me. I don't remember much of exact words being said, but for context, he asked me him multiple times. Mind you, he's married. I'm a minor. He's old, right? Right. Yeah, so that was very uncomfortable to have to be like, oh, like, and I don't think so, whatever. I also never spoke out because, again, he's my neighbor, very close to my family. Like, it just didn't feel like it would do anything. So I ended up just, like, keeping my distance. When he would be at my house, he was in my parents' friends group. When he was in my house, I just wouldn't be outside with them. I wouldn't really try to surround myself with them to an extent, but at the same time, it's like, how much can you really do? So I was ultimately around him a lot more than I would have liked to have been. During this time, one of our other coworkers, Brittany, stated that she just, like, kept getting weird vibes from him. Just, like, he would make comments that an employer or a man shouldn't make towards an underage girl. Things such as, oh, you're making good tips today, if she wore a more low-cut shirt. I mean, it could be this low-cut, and he would be saying something. So it was never, like, revealing, if it's the word I would use, I guess. At the end of last summer season, another girl, we'll call her Samantha, started at the stand. She was only 15 when she started working. By this time, I'm not barely picking up shifts, like, I'm completely doing my own thing. This summer rolls around, and it's Paisley, Brittany, and Samantha. There's one other girl, but that's alright. As I said, Jake is very close with my family. Abby as well, but, you know, like, it's a close ship over here. We all go on trips together. Like, we've always been super close. We end up going out of town for my dad's birthday trip and my graduation trip. Like, an all-in-one thing. We're staying in a big house. There's 4 couples. There's kids. Like, it's all of us there because it's a big get-together. At this point in time, Jake hadn't touched me in, like, an inappropriate way, like, in a while. So I didn't feel as threatened to be around him. I was very wrong to think that way. So on this trip, Jake and Abby's room was right next to mine. There was one night I was walking to go outside to the pool where everybody was, and he was walking inside either to his room or the bathroom. As we passed each other, he grabs my hand, very hard, very aggressive, it left a mark, and tries to put it in his area. Obviously, I'm super thrown off. I go out to the pool where he later joins. He then proceeds to grab my leg in the same manner, just very hard, very aggressive, very bad intentions. I feel terrible being this person, but this will be several parts because it just keeps going and getting worse and worse and worse. So make sure you come back for part 2.
Y'all, Kris Jenner dead at 67.
Guys, story time of how my best friend is dating the guy I cried to her about. So this is probably going to be a very long video. It might have multiple parts, I'm not 100% sure, but get your popcorn because so basically, me and this girl have been friends literally our whole lives. We've known each other since we were in elementary school, and so this whole thing is kind of just flabbergasting, and it kind of just shows the type of person she is, and it's insane. So let's start off with how I met this guy. We pretty much, long story short, me and this girl and a couple of our other friends went out to a football game, and I saw the guy out. Like, we were at like the gas station, probably red flag number 1, but we were at the gas station. I seen him, I thought he was cute. Well, I was low-key doing things for the plot. The whole car ride I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna like find a random guy. Like, that's low-key what my thought process was. But saw him, was like, hey, you're low-key very good looking, and he said thank you, and then my friend got his number for me, and then yeah, we like started talking. My hair is like sticking up, it's low-key PMO. We met this guy like near end of September, and whatever, everything was cool, kicking, you know, we started talking or whatever, blah 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 blah. So with this guy, it was like fine at first, but then honestly it was just very like toxic, like very very toxic, and there was just a lot of immaturity. Let's just say all men are genuinely the same. Like, there was lack of accountability, there was a lot of immaturity, there was just like so freaking much with that whole situation, but that's not even what I'm here to talk about. So whatever, I had told my friends, and I'm like, bro, like, this guy is very like, I don't know, like, there's so much going on, but like I like talking to him, he seems cool, like I don't want to stop talking to him, blah 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 blah. And this girl is one of the girls, and I'm gonna call her, what should I call her? I'm gonna call her Emma because it's very far from like her actual name, but yeah, I'm gonna call her Emma. So Emma knows everything that's like going on between me and this guy. Mind you, this is like ongoing, like it's like accumulating, like it's kind of just getting worse and worse, and she like knows everything that I had going on with this guy. And she's sitting there and she's telling me, she's like, oh my gosh, Rachel, stop talking to him, like he's so weird, he's such a bad person, blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like, the whole time this girl is like preaching about how much she dislikes this guy, how much I should stop talking to him, how much he's immature for his age, and how much he like doesn't know how to act right, blah blah blah. Just ongoing things that are just like insane because they're like together now. So literally one night, me and my friends went out. We went out to eat, and then we went out to like his area. Mind you, this guy does not live in the city. Like, he lives like 20 minutes outside of the city from where I'm at. And we like went on a side quest, and we went over there because I wanted to see him. And so we go out there, and we're low-key just trolling the fuck out of him at this point because he was just being hard-headed and like not coming out. He has his reasons, like I don't really care. Well, I did before, but like now I don't really care. But I prank called him. Well, we prank called him on Emma. Am I calling her Emma? On Emma's phone. So whatever, we prank call him or whatever, he doesn't answer. But he knew that it was her because I was always with her. Like, everything I did, I was with her, and he knew that. So he was like, oh my gosh, like, I know this is you guys. Like, what are you guys doing? Blah, 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 blah. And we were just like, bro, like, just pop out, bro. Like, come on, like, we're in your area. Whatever. He was being so hard-headed, and, like, so many other things happened, too, that just, like, irritated me even more, to the point where it's like, I was on the drive back. We didn't end up seeing the guy, but on the drive back, I literally was, like, on the verge of, like, crying because I felt so, like, overwhelmed with, like, a lot of things. And I was talking to her about it, and I'm like, bro, like, I don't know what to do. Like, I like talking to this guy. And, like, things were just very, guys, I'm not going to explain the details with this guy, but he's gonna think I'm taking things out of context. But from my perspective, like, things were just so, like, But anyways, I'm not even gonna explain that. But yeah, I was, like, on the verge of crying to this girl about some stuff, and she was like, Rachel, bro, like, this guy's not even worth it. Like, he's not worth your, like, he's not worth this energy right now. Like, he's not, bro. She started coming for his looks. She's like, he's not even cute. You can do so much better. Da 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 da. Just saying a whole bunch of things, and I'm sitting here and I'm listening to her, and I'm like, yeah, like, maybe this girl is, like, right. You know what I mean? Like, maybe she's genuinely right. You know? So she drops me off home, and before I leave, she, like, gets out the car and she gives me a hug, and she's like, Rachel, like, I genuinely feel so bad with, like, everything you're going through. He's not even worth it. Like, I promise you, you can do so much better. Like, just being in my head, I'm thinking she's just being a friend that's comforting me with, like, everything I got going on, because I was genuinely, like, overwhelmed. So a couple of days go by after that situation. She ended up going to, like, our friend's house afterwards to, like, go spend the night, which I don't do sleepovers, so I didn't go to it. But a couple of days later, me and her are, like, on the phone, and she talks to me, and she's like, oh, like, by the way, I'm gonna call him Taylor Swift for obvious reasons, but she's like, I texted Taylor Swift, and my heart genuinely just, like, sinks, because it's like, this isn't one of those situations where I needed you to text the guy, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't one of those situations where, oh my gosh, this is so bad, like, text him. Like, it was not. And in my head, because she told me, and she was like, yeah, like, I blocked his number, like, absolutely not. Like, mind you, this girl preached, like, this guy's so bad, he's so disgusting, he's pissing me off more than he's pissing you off, you need to stop talking to him, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So when I hear that she texted him, I was kind of just like, what the frick? Like, why? Like, who even asked you to do that? So I'm sitting here, and I'm like, oh, like, what did you say? Tell me why this girl's like, oh, I just told him my opinion on, like, the situation. I'm sorry, but I don't remember asking for your opinion. You know what I mean? And in the back of my head, I'm also like, hey, this is weird as frick, because it's like, you told me you blocked his number. You told me you don't like him. So it's like, why are you going out of your way? After we just had the conversation that I'm going to stop talking to him, why did you go out of your way to go and text this boy? Like, for what? So after that, she's telling me, and she's like, oh yeah, like, I just told him that he should talk to you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, brother, like, I did not need you for that. Like, I did not need you for that at all. Like, I get you were trying to be a good friend, but I'm looking at you weird because you told me you blocked his number, but you still have his number. So, like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, I feel disrespected. I feel disturbed. Like, it's just disgusting. So as this girl is, like, going on and on about, like, oh, like, we talked about this, I'm just sitting here and I'm like, okay, this is, like, weird. And the thing that threw me off, like, over the edge was when she was like, oh, I literally had to text. She was like, I hope he doesn't think I'm texting him in any other way, because I'm truly just doing this for you. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this. Literally the whole time, it's like she was trying to convince herself. She was like, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for you. I hope he doesn't think it's anything. Like, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for you. And so I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, I didn't need you to do anything for me. So honestly, like, who are you doing this for? You know what I mean? And then she's like, oh, like, I hope he doesn't think I like him, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, what are you guys talking about to the point where you have to sit here and be like, oh, I hope he doesn't think I like him? Like, how does it get to, oh, I'm helping you, to, oh, I hope he doesn't think I like him? How did we get there? And then she proceeds to say, and she's like, yeah, like, I literally had to text our friend. Mind you, a girl who doesn't even know who this guy is. She's like, oh, like, I had to text our friend and ask her opinion about it. And, like, I had to, this came out of her mouth. She was like, I hope this guy doesn't think I like him. And then she goes, yeah, like, I had to let him know that nothing can happen between us because Rachel likes him. What? So now I'm sitting here and I'm like, what the frick are you even talking about, like, now? Like, now I'm kind of just like, no, like, you're weird. Like, you're weird for that. Like, you're weird. Anyways, guys, I've reached my 10 minutes. So, go to part 2.
Story time on how I found out my ex-boyfriend was cheating on me. He was my first
real relationship. I was in high school, 16 when I started dating him. So he went to a different high school than me, and the way that I met him is I had a friend who also went to that high school, and so she introduced us at the movie theater, and then we like exchanged Snapchat. Okay, so we start dating. We ended up dating for like a year. The year mark, that was it. That was when everything went down. I think before the year mark, my friend she wasn't my friend. She wasn't my friend anymore. Okay, but she hits me up, and I knew it was weird because we hadn't talked and we like stopped being friends. She was like, hey, he also was dating a guy who went to the same high school as my ex. Okay, so she was like, hey, I went to this dance that was at the high school that my ex goes to. I don't know why I didn't go. I think I was like busy or something. But she was like, I went to this dance or this event or like whatever. And she was like, I heard these people talking about how they saw, what should we call him? Let's call him Ricky. They were talking about how like, oh, we saw Ricky and Samantha together, like whatever. And so she's basically telling me that she heard these girls talking at the dance or event or whatever, basically saying that they see Ricky hanging out with this girl during lunch, and they like leave the school because that school that he went to was an open campus. So basically during lunch, like everyone is free to go wherever they want to go. Okay, so I didn't really, obviously I was like, what the fuck? But I didn't really like this girl anymore, and she was like super manipulative when we were friends. I was just like, I'm gonna handle this on my own. I had a feeling that this might have been her way to like get back into my life or like be my friend again, and that's just not what I wanted. But obviously I confront Ricky and I'm like, what the fuck? And he's basically like, I don't even know this girl, like she's tripping, like don't trust you're like not even friends with her anymore. So I was like, like at a young age, it's engraved in me like men are liars. So I hit up my friend that went to the same school as Ricky, obviously. Let's call my friend Jeanette. I hit up Jeanette and I'm like, hey girl, do you know this girl? People are saying, I guess, that they see Ricky with her during lunch and they like leave together. And basically the whole rumor was that they leave lunch and go in the car. Yeah. And that's homegirl. So she was like, I got you, like, I know who this is, like, whatever. Here's where it starts getting wild. So I was like, okay, like, I just need to know if this shit is real or not. Like, Ricky was like, why don't I confront the girl? We need to give her a name. The girl's name is Angelica. He was like, why don't I confront Angelica with your friend Jeanette and basically like close this case and like prove to you that this isn't real, that this never happened. I'm like, okay, like that makes sense to me. Like they're gonna go confront her and basically say like, oh, do you know where these rumors are coming from? My friend Jeanette is gonna like peep their vibe and see if like something's actually going on or whatever. It made sense to me. I don't know. They do end up confronting her. I feel bad for her, honestly. Like they're like, do you know who's spreading this rumor? And this is from my friend Jeanette, and she would not lie to me. So I was like asking her like, okay, like how was his demeanor? And she was like, he was really serious, like, oh, like, do you know who would be saying these rumors? Like, he was, like, distraught and, like, really wanting answers to this lie. Man needs to, like, go to Hollywood and get an acting career or something. So basically, case closed. I'm like, okay, that's good enough for me, I guess. So it's just a rumor. You know, like, I lived in a pretty small town, so rumors came up a lot, and a lot of them, you know, sometimes they weren't true. A rumor always sparks somewhere. I was like, okay, this is like, I want to say it was like a month before our 1 year, or maybe even 3 months before our 1 year. So basically, we keep on dating, time passes, and we're about to take, or we're taking our SATs. It's SAT season.
Ooh, oh my god, I almost forgot. I don't know when this happened. I'm getting this timeline like kind of fucked up. During that time that we found out about the rumor, closed the rumor, and then, you know, kept dating, and before our SATs, he got a new Snapchat, okay? He got a new Snapchat. Back then, if you wanted to change your username on Snapchat, you had to create a whole new fucking Snapchat. I asked him, I was like, oh, like, why did you get a new Snapchat? And he was like, oh, like, I just hated my username. Honestly, I understood that because I had, like, a stupid username from when I was, like, a fucking baby. So I was like, oh, okay, and I didn't really think much of it. Oh my god, now that I'm talking about this, like, am I stupid? But when you change your Snapchat, you, like, still have the old one. You just basically, like, just got a new Snapchat. Unless there was a way to, like, completely delete it, but I don't think so. Okay, so back to the SATs. So we have to do our SATs, we finish them, and we have to log into this site that gives us our score. He didn't have a laptop or anything, so I told him, I was like, oh, I can look up your score for you on my iPad. In order to do that, he needs to give me a username and a password. I don't know what ignited my 16-year-old brain to do this. After I gave him his score or whatever, it was like late at night and something was just telling me to like log into his old Snapchat. And I wasn't even thinking that I would find anything. And with Snapchat, all you need is the password and the username. The username everyone knows because you see it on their profile. Best believe I logged into that shit. And best believe I found fucking texts with him and that girl with Angelica. And that pretty much validated the rumor. Take that as a sign and look through his phone.